Oh well, what can I say? The lawyer in the room, I'm normally the one that has to break the bad news, and I always offer everyone a nice cup of tea before I have to do that. Now, I have recently seen in M&A transactions and even in asset acquisitions, things have been running very, very fast because there seem to be a lot of companies and a lot of assets up for sale. And I have many clients who are entrepreneurs and founders who grow their portfolio of business, who acquire businesses and turn them around, etc., and are quite keen to buy some of these assets. But I have recently found, as I said, because things are running so quickly and we are dealing with so many different parts and moving pieces and people in a seller's company or in a particular business where we are, with the seller team. And I wanted to highlight a few things that I've seen recently on my experience, which I think you really should watch out for because they're not the bad news. They're really the red flags which you should be looking at to not get into a transaction. Now, the first one is incomplete financial data. When the financials are not available, when the financials are badly done, or there are missing pieces in the financials. We even had a recent situation where the share capital of the company hadn't been put into the bank account, as is customary under UAE law, etc. You need to watch out because if the financials haven't been done, there's usually a reason why or a backstory or aspects in the business that need to be fixed, etc. The other thing is sort of residual liability that might not be visible at the surface, but there could be court cases and other things that have gone on in the business, environmental issues, etc., that may not be transparent until you dig deeper. So, for example, if you're buying a plot of land or if you're buying a building built on a plot of land that was very close to a marshy area that was also close to an industrial zone, you might want to look a little bit deeper, and you might also want to look at what permissions that business had obtained in order to build and all of that. So those two things definitely. Then the third thing I would say is I have found two situations where the seller is rushing to sell, and that always raises an issue with me. And in other cases where we've had an amazing rapport with the seller team, or perhaps their legal advisor or their in-house legal or their finance team, and then suddenly things have been dragging, they're asking us for more documents, they're saying we're not being reasonable, they're withholding information they said they had but they hadn't given us. Definite red flag. That could be the fact that they may have changed their mind, they might be trying to renegotiate the price, or they might have found another buyer or multiple buyers, because as I said to you, the market is really hot at the moment, and you might end up in a position where you weren't in a bidding war, but you end up in a bidding war. And sadly, it's not good faith and it's not ethical. But unless you've signed on the dotted line, there's not much you can do about it. And I think most clients would agree they're not willing to sue somebody on the back of an offer that they might have made. And I guess the last point I would say is compliance and regulatory aspects. Has the business ticked all the right boxes? The UAE has become very compliance orientated, especially in the financial free zones and in especially certain sectors where a number of things need to be filed, a number of things need to be declared, and we have corporate tax filings that will be coming shortly, and books need to be in order. So if you are acquiring an asset, you may think that you're free of sort of the baggage of the asset, but don't be fooled. You could end up with a lot of baggage even if it's an asset. And if you're acquiring obviously shares in a company, you don't want to be in a position where you're stuck with regulatory compliance issues and fines, because they can be quite high and they do hold the general manager and other directors and things of the company responsible. So great, I'm all for a good deal. I love doing due diligence, talking to management teams, working through contracts and making deals happen. But when a few things do turn up that look like they might derail the deal, I have to go with my gut feeling, have to offer you the tea and give you the bad news. Thank you so much for watching Think Tank this week.